Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to today's session of HR Learning Mentoring Series. Today, we are very privileged to have someone I regard as one of the industry leaders, someone who has a large, rich wealth of experience, Mr. Ayo Amakiome. I'll just read briefly about him, very briefly about him. You can check him on LinkedIn to get full glimpse into his profile and to see what he has accomplished so far in his career trajectory. Mr. Ayo is a management and HR consultant that has succeeded in helping a lot of businesses, especially startups, find their feet and become successful SMEs. He also has expertise in real estate development and logistics. He has over 10 years banking experience, spanning several banks from FCMB, Zenith Bank, Guaranty Trust Bank, Oceanic Bank, Eco Bank, where he bowed out as the manager of one of their branches in Apapa, Lagos. His job experience spans over several positions as he rose through the ranks from his days as a contract staff to acting zonal head of operation, overseeing over 30 branches and over 1,000 staff through to retail and corporate marketing, oil and gas, and then branch manager. He was also a facilitator at the Oceanic Leadership Academy at Oceanic Bank. He has been into HR since 2001, when he started his career as HR in the department. He has work experience in every area of human resources and human capital management and consults on HR on a regular basis. He facilitates on HR and HR-related issues with the Institute for Professional Development, P4PE, where he also prepares candidates for the SHRM-CP, SHRM-SCP International Professional Certifications. His first degree is in accounting from Olabisi Onabanjo University of Ogun State. He also has a master's in business administration from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, both in Nigeria. He is an associate of quite a number of bodies. He appears on TV and radio on a regular basis, speaking and sharing on HR, economy, SME development issues. He is also an influencer on social media. Please, let us welcome with warmth and applause, virtual emoticons, Mr. Ayo Amakiome. Please help me pronounce that your surname. I suspect I'm not doing justice to the pronunciation.
No, in my place, they will say they will find you one goat for not pronouncing the name well. Hey. So you owe me one goat and one tuber of yam.
Okay, noted.
The correct pronunciation is Amakiome. Amakiome. Yes, not Amakiome, or what are you calling it? I don't even know. The Amakiome. So thank you very much for having me. I am grateful for the privilege and the opportunity to actually be here. Every time I get to be on a platform like this, I see it as a great privilege because it's not everyone that has the opportunity to be an influencer of thought. So, and that's what I do whenever I'm on such a platform. So, I start by saying good evening to everyone. For those in Nigeria, then wherever else you are logged in from, I wish you a very good and wonderful day. The greatest gift you can have in life is to have a mentor. And in fact, the first mentor was God himself. God mentored man and mentored all of us to where we are today for those that are Christians. And it is the best gift you can get from anyone and the best gift anyone can give to you, be it either as a mentee or be you the one being the mentor. They said the greatest, money cannot buy experience. Yes, I said it right. That one thing money cannot buy is experience. And mentoring is not theory, it's practical. So it's experience. So when you talk about mentoring, it's a valuable asset and a valuable resource because, invaluable, sorry, because you can't place proper value on it, because a mentor is saving time for you. A mentor is helping you move faster than you would have if you were on your own. And a mentor is helping you reduce the errors you would have had in the first place. But today, we are not just talking about mentoring. We are talking about mentoring in the workplace and how necessary or important it is, and then setting it up successfully. So in achieving this, we'll be talking about what mentoring is, the types of mentoring programs. Then we need to bust some myths in mentoring. We need to do that. Then what are the benefits? What are the challenges? And then what are the solutions to these challenges? And then, of course, we need to evaluate the mentoring system, and we need to evaluate the mentees we are mentoring. That's how important this is. So either a lot of times, a lot of people see mentoring as something you do with one person and to achieve all your goals. But you see, mentoring can be for business, can be for professional relationship, it can be for ministry, it can be for a particular course like leadership or marketing excellence. So one person can have multitude of mentors, and multitude of goals, while at the same time, the person might have just one mentor, depending on the person's personal vision and personal goals. But the issue is whether you have one vision, one goal, one target, you need a mentor. That is how important it is. You need a mentor. So mentoring is a form of professional development. Is a relationship in which an experienced or a knowledgeable person known as a mentor provides guidance to the less experienced or the less knowledgeable person. Please note my definitions here and my explanation, because mentoring is very broad. So I am narrowing it down to the workplace, mentoring in the workplace, because, you know, that's what we are discussing. So given my definition, like I said, it's someone that is more experienced and more advanced in either a skill or profession or on the job, mentoring someone that is either new or less experienced or with less skill, who is now the mentee in a work environment. So the mentor will share their, we call it war stories, their expertise, and then provide guidance in the jungle of the job, and also now bring up some learning opportunities to the mentee, and that is being done so as to help the mentee to advance their career and also grow on their job. And of course, you cannot advance and not have some form of development of your person, because if you change inside, you will change outside. So mentoring comes in different types, like I said, and in different forms. But in the workplace, we have what they call the traditional mentoring, which is the basic one we know of the relationship between the experienced person and the inexperienced or junior person. But we also have the peer mentoring, where someone of your level is mentoring you. Usually the person given to mentor might be your colleague or someone that has been in the system or on that job longer, but of your same level. The person might be asked to mentor you probably because you are a new person in the company, or you just joined, or you just came to that department, or there is a new technology of which that person knows it better. So that's why you are now brought in to be mentored by that person who is of the same level with you. Then sometimes, as interesting as it seems, you will be the one mentoring somebody higher above you, either in age, in experience, or in position. Also, this comes up in times of like when we have new technology or something innovative, of which that younger or lower level person is one that knows it better, or is one that was taught that thing, which is why the person is now the one doing the mentoring. So now in an organization, when you want to set up a mentoring program, there are different ways, but usually to set up a mentoring system, whether it's formal or informal, I usually advise that it starts from the top. That is, the top management or even the board would have decided what they want to achieve. Is it creating like a succession, because it's very essential in a succession planning system actually. So is it a succession planning system that they want to do, or is it to better their staff in either a department or in the whole organization? So a mentoring system is now set up, and they are now set up in forms of programs, and sometimes it can be formal, sometimes it can be informal. For example, I might have a staff in a party who is new in a department, and then I get the head of that department and I say, look, I need you to guide this staff through to make sure that over the next 6 months, if for any reason you are not at your desk, this staff can sit on your desk and nobody will notice that you are not there. So what that person would have to do is now carry out what we call a mentoring system, to train this person thoroughly and ensure that this person is now like they are duplicates if they are not there. And that's what mentoring is basically. So we have different types of such programs. We have, like I mentioned before, the reverse mentorship type. We have the formal one. We have the peer-to-peer. We also have the diversified and unified mentoring programs. What are all this? The formal one, the reverse mentorship program is like the one I just mentioned, which is that one in which is a younger person or a junior person mentoring senior people or more advanced people. I can assure you it's not funny. Because, when you are dealing with someone higher than you, you have to watch your words and you have to learn to be humble. A lot of people sometimes allow it gets to their head and start, talking down on your senior. Why? Because you are now telling the person what to do. Don't ever let it get to your head. Otherwise, the consequences might not be good for you. But reverse mentoring happens in a lot of organizations, especially organizations that are structured and they have a very big future ahead of them. So it can be reverse, it can be formal, it can be peer-to-peer, but mentorship happens. And sometimes it's going horizontal and diagonal. What do I mean? Horizontal means I hope I'm not mixing it up, but horizontal is, I think that's going up. So that one is between you, that's the formal mentoring, where you are being mentored by someone above you. Then you could also have your department or your unit member mentoring you. And then you could also have at the same time somebody below you also mentoring you. This is common in IT setup systems where probably there is a project you are not familiar with, and there's someone, a new staff who is at a lower level than you, but knows it very well, which you now need that person to put you through so that when you are now overseeing everybody, you already have a good knowledge of what that project, program, or system does, or how it entails, or how it goes. So that's mentoring generally. Please, if you have questions, feel free to ask, because I don't think, just ask. You can send it as a chat. I should be able to see it. If you have questions, please go ahead and ask them, and I'll find time to make sure that I respond to your questions. Okay. Now, I have so many mentoring stories that so many are running through my head. I'm trying to decide on which one to share with us, because one of my rules in facilitating is that I should always share real life stories. Well, I don't even know which one to share, because one of my challenges now is I don't have a general idea of my class. And because we are virtual, and because the time is not enough, because it's already late, so I know some people are tired, some are sleepy. And so I can't say now who you are to be able to give, because I want to give a story that matches, a story that, you know, you can share in its reality, not just tell you stories from the sky. Well, let's move on. Now, there are so many myths behind mentoring, so many. A lot of people have various different beliefs about mentoring. So I feel we should understand some of them. One of them now, for example, is they said mentoring and coaching are the same thing. Well, I'm sorry to let you know that mentoring and coaching are not the same thing. A coach can be one can be the other and the other cannot be the other. What do I mean? Starting from a coach is someone that has been trained such that whether the person knows your field of endeavor or that thing you want them to guide you on or not, they've been trained on structuring questions that helps you to bring out answers to the challenges you are facing. That is, for example, I know not much about programming in Python, for example, and then I was told to mentor you on your job such that you'll be very good in your Python programming. No, I should coach you. So all I have to do is come and meet you and start asking you questions about the program. What does it do? How does it work? What are the challenges? What are the various kind of projects? What projects do you have that will be difficult for you? Do you think you should embark on it? If you feel so, then why not do that? And on and on and on like that. But if you now start bringing in technicalities like, oh, you have an error that you cannot find what it is in your Python program, you have lost me, because then you'll be speaking French and me, I'm speaking English. So we will never understand ourselves. But that's a coach. A coach just asks guiding questions and just guides you, that's all, and does not have to know your area of expertise. But you see a mentor, a mentor is a person that handholds you and walks you through that system. So automatically, the only person that can do that is someone that has the knowledge that has gone ahead of you in that endeavor, be it on the job, be it in a personal journey, be it in leadership, in a particular field, or be it in your marriage, be it in your relationship, be it in your ministry, someone that has gone ahead and has an idea. So those are the kind of people that can mentor. So now I get it. A coach can be a mentor, but it's not all coaches. I mean, it's not all mentors that can be coaches. So that's the difference. A coach can be a mentor, but it's not all mentors that can be coaches, because application is different. Application is different. So coaching and mentoring are not the same. That's where I'm going to. They are not the same. Another one is that anyone can be a mentor. Mentoring is actually a skill that can be learned, okay? But mentoring has some requirements that makes it not what everybody can do. For example, if you are the type that you are very bad at communicating, you cannot be a mentor. You talk, I used to know someone like that. You talk, you say something halfway, expect the person to know the rest. And if they don't know the rest, let them go and find it. Or the person is having a challenge, going back to my Python programming example, and the person has done, you've asked so many questions, the person has done everything possible within his or her capacity, but cannot find a solution. What you are supposed to do now as an experienced mentor, which means you are good with Python programming, you should be able to now look at it and see if you can find this solution to the problem, or you can recommend someone that you are very sure can solve that challenge. And it takes a mentor to be able to do that, but a coach will not be able to do that. Now, there's also that myth that mentoring is all about the mentees. That is, the mentor does not benefit. The mentee is the only one that benefits. I'm sorry, it's both ways. Just like I mentioned that sometimes, what do you call it? If you are not good at communication, you don't know how to listen, you don't know how to get someone to talk, you don't know how to explain things, you don't know how to guide, you don't have patience. Mentoring is something, especially if you're in a leadership position, you need. Why? In the process of doing that, you now will have to force yourself for your mentee to succeed to learn all those things and apply them. And it's not overnight, but if you keep at it, you will get better. So the mentor actually benefits. And then there are some things you did not know or some theories you did not understand. It is when you start teaching a mentee or guiding a mentee, you now start appreciating and understanding them as a mentor. So yes, the mentee has a whole lot of benefits, but is the mentor that, I mean, the mentor also has a lot to benefit at the same time. Now, some of us see our mentor as a Superman. He has landed, and once he lands, the whole world, will change and everything will be solved. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Just like I said, there are mentors for different aspects of your life. You have a mentor for your marriage. You have a mentor for your relationships. You have a mentor for your job. You have a mentor for your profession. You have a mentor for a course you are following. You have a mentor. So why are there so many different mentors? Because none of them is the citadel of everything. None, except they are God anyway. So that's the only one. So based on that, you don't ever see your mentor as a Superman. See him as a human being that can guide you. And then some of them don't think they are perfect. They are human beings like you, so they have challenges and they have character flaws. But most times, just focus on what you want to get and move on with it. Except it's a character flaw you cannot cope with, then you move on. And mentoring is not by force too. So if you are not comfortable with your mentor, please end the relationship and look for another one. It's very simple. It's not by force. As my people will say, not be by force. There's another myth that they believe to be a mentor, it must be in you. You must be born like that. But just like I said when I was explaining, anyone can become a mentor. It's a skill and it can be learned. So mentors, yes, there are a few people that they are born mentors, just like you are born leaders. But any other person that wants to be a mentor can learn it. So mentors are made, not born. Mentors are made and not born. Sorry, I'm just checking the comments to see. Oh, somebody is saying you can't hear me. I hope you can hear me clearly now. Now, somebody is asking for the difference between mentoring and job shadowing. Job shadowing is a situation where I can compare to being an apprentice. That is, I sit down with you, I look at what you are doing, I copy it, and I move on. But you see, it does not deal with issues which a mentor is supposed to do on the job now. I mean, for example, you might have character flaws that will disturb your career progression. Your mentor is supposed to note that and guide you on how to get over it or make recommendations. But you see, job shadowing, you just learn the job. You deal with your character flaw yourself. So that's the difference. I hope you can all hear me now. Okay, for now, I think that's the major question. So let's move on. Okay, this is all I've explained. A coach has been trained to ask questions to help you focus on identify options you already know. But where you find it hard to choose the best for your circumstances, you need a coach. So a coach will motivate you, but usually it does not have any direct experience of your business situation and cannot offer additional business or career suggestions. That's a coach. While a mentor will have experience of your business environment and will be able to ask specific questions about your situation and offer alternative solutions based on their own experience. They can also help you choose between this and your own ideas and motivate you to learn how to solve that problem yourself. Now, the main difference between mentoring and coaching is the transfer of knowledge from your coach to you, or from your mentor to you. A mentor does it directly, a coach does it indirectly. Now, what does it take to be a good mentor? You have to be experienced and knowledgeable. You have to know the job. You have to have a wealth of experience. That is, you don't just know the job by theory, you know it by experience in addition to the theory. So that when you are now giving insight or teaching, then automatically you are teaching with from a basket of knowledge on that business adventure or business situation. Then a mentor has to be patient and understanding. That is, a mentor must have empathy. You know, sometimes when I was taking a course on microfinance, as at that time, I was already zonal assistant. Zonal assistant, that is, I'm working with the zonal head. And how it works is the zonal assistant does 70% of the zonal head's job, so that the zonal head does 30% and can focus on strategic insights. So at that time, and I had over 1,000 people calling me every day with different issues they want me to deal with while still on my job, and I was running this course. So at some point, I started snapping at my mentor. That's the guy I was paired with in taking this my microfinance course. The guy at some point told me straight up, he said, Ayo, for the last week, you have been snapping at me. And I know it's stress on your job because I've been there before. What I'll ask is, I'm going to give you a month break so that you get yourself together, reorganize your desk, and then we start again. And we continue from this. I felt crazy. What's wrong with this guy? I don't have to. He said, look, one of the first rules in doing your job right is to be patient on it. And one of the rules of achieving anything in life is being focused and organized. Right now, you have too many people asking for your attention. That got to me. So for that 1 month, I spent time, creating a schedule for which I created time for my session with this, my guardian. So by the next month, truly, like he said, it became a very smooth relationship where I was available at the set times and everything he asked me to do was there. So if I had continued with him and he didn't know about the fact of the kind of job I was doing, he would think is that I'm either rude or how do you call it, not serious, not knowing that there are challenges. So, and that's what a good mentor has to do. Be ready to be patient and understanding. Then communication skill, which I've been saying since, is key because mentoring is a relationship and the principal guide for any relationship is communication. So the mentor should be very good at breaking down complex issues to the level at which the mentee can understand. And always, the mentor should be able to know how to ask questions to get the kind of feedback necessary for the progress of the mentoring relationship. To do all this requires effective communication. Next, which is what I've already discussed, a mentor has to be empathetic. Show empathy for your mentee and for the kind of job they do. Now, mentoring is demanding. When you deal with human beings, there would always be demand on you. And so based on that, you must be committed. You must be committed. You must show commitment and be committed. And in the process of doing that, you should be able to draw commitment from your mentee. But you see, what you give is what you get. So if you are not committed in the mentoring assignment or in the mentoring relationship, then you will find it difficult getting commitment from your mentee. So that's why it's so important that you are committed to the mentoring process and the mentoring project. Then a mentor should be open-minded. What do I mean by that? There's a joke that men have tunnel vision. What does it mean to have tunnel vision? That is, you can enter a room now, all you are looking for is your pair of slippers. There might be 20 people in that room, and maybe one of those people is being killed by another person, and another person is already dead on the floor. You enter that room, you will not see anybody. you just look around, you see your slippers, you pick it up and you leave. It is when they start asking you, you say, actually, I didn't even know there was anybody inside that room. Why? That's tunnel vision. But you see, when you are a mentor, you cannot think like that. You need to have an open mind. Why? Number one, your mentee might have the same thing, and your job is to help them learn to open their mind. Number two, they are coming with a lot of baggage. They are coming with a different type of learning. They are coming with a different type of experience. So when you have an open mind, whatever they dump on your table, you can remove all the unnecessary items and pick only the most important ones. But if you have a tunnel mind, as in your mind is set for a particular kind of personality, automatically you'll find it difficult working with a mentee that is not organized, and that's who you are working with. That is, a mentee came to you because they don't have direction, they don't have focus, they don't have understanding. So then they might have mindsets on a lot of things. Your job is to first dissuade the negative mindsets and encourage the positive ones. Then baggages that they are carrying, as long as it's negatively affecting the job, you need to be able to take it off them. But if you don't have an open mind, it will be very difficult for you, especially if I use where we are, your mentee is a Gen Z, while you are still a baby boomer. I wish you guys all the best, but it's possible. It's just about the kind of mentor you are, and open-mindedness is what will help you to go far. Then your mentee will ask all kinds of questions. If you don't have an open mind, you will read meaning to everything the mentee is saying, and sometimes you might read a lot of negative meaning, and it will affect the relationship negatively. So as a mentor, what are the best practices you are expected to have? I mean, what are the areas of mentoring that you're supposed to engage in? Number one, which is the most common one, somebody starting a new business. Probably, let's say you are starting a business selling plantain. Then you go to someone that has been selling the plantain in like the last 10 years and is now doing it in hundreds of millions of turnover per annum. So with that person, you need a mentor to guide you. Then sometimes is in career development, which is what we're talking about on the job. On the job, you would have a lot of challenges, you would make a lot of mistakes. Then some of the mistakes can cost you your job, while some of the mistakes can stop your career progress for a long time. You now need a mentor to guide you such that those mistakes you would have made will be minimal. Those things that would have stopped your career progress will probably have been taken care of by your mentor's guidance. And sometimes it even requires your mentor to protect you, for you to survive for long on your job. Then, of course, sometimes you need a mentor when you are relocating your job. For example, using Lagos, if you are moving from your branch on the mainland to your branch on the island, a mentor can be given to you who probably also stays on the mainland, but works in that same island branch. So based on that, the person will guide you on movement, coming to work and going back, and probably help you to get to the point, because of the longer distance now, where you can be done with your job on time, so that you can leave the office on time and get home on time, so that you can have a balanced work life. Somebody is asking that how does one get to search out for a particular mentor that he can learn a new lifestyle from? This lifestyle definitely brings good from a particular set of friends. Now, first of all, mentoring starts from the mentee. What do I mean? You should be able to define what you need a mentor for. Like this person now, Usoro, is asking about lifestyle. What lifestyle? So when you have defined what that lifestyle is, we expect you to do some research of what the lifestyle entails and all that. Based on that, you now look for those doing it. Sometimes the person might not be around you. And mentoring does not have to be direct. You might have a mentor of which you now have to read up the mentor's books. But by reading the books, especially if it's in relation to the things you are looking for, you will learn a lot of lessons. Like one of my mentors is Robert Kiyosaki. As we speak, I have read well until any book he has released after, I think, 2010. I've not read them, but everything, was it 2010 or 2012? Yes, 2012, I've not read them. But everything before that, I've read all of them. Why? He's one of my mentors. So I even follow him, I think, on LinkedIn. Why? So based on that, I am learning and learning, and I learned a lot, I would have to tell you, from him. When you choose God as your mentor, what do? You read your Bible. So sometimes you have to read up. Then sometimes your mentor might be someone that you can't reach easily, but the person is on TV, is on radio, or has a blog page or something. Then follow the person and always, watch, listen, review, learn, take notes. If you can send emails, you can send emails. Sometimes a mentor does not want to mentor formally. So you can create time and probably send emails maybe once a week, asking one question or the other. And so in the process of doing that, the mentor would respond and you are getting your mentorship. So first thing is to define what is it you want to get mentored in, what are your goals, what do you want to achieve, and then you now look for who it is that can do that for you. Now, you can formally walk up to someone and ask the person to mentor you in XYZ area, or in XYZ system, in XYZ business, in XYZ profession. And if it's an open-minded mentor, they could accept. But immediately the mentor accepts, you don't leave it there. What you now do, you need to set up a system. What do I mean? Agree on when you meet, what kind of review, then what are the goals you want to achieve, and then what are the milestones to show that you are making progress. So when you agree on that, then you have started a formal mentorship relationship with this mentor. And so you meet at the set time, you review the agreed goals and milestones, and then see whether you're making progress or not. And then see why, if you're not making progress, to be able to find solutions to it. So, and there are mentors all around and everyone available. So it is the mentee that decides. All you need to do is define. For example, you want this, Usoro is asking about lifestyle. Why do you want to change your lifestyle? Why do you want to improve? What do you want to achieve with this particular kind of lifestyle? Ask those questions before you now decide on who you want to mentor you. Also, your mentor does not have to be in the same country with you, in the same state with you, or even in the same hemisphere with you. So it's about how you agree on communication with your mentor.
Is that one drama?
So returning to work, when I was a banker, please, can you mute your mic? I don't know who's talking there. Now, when I was a banker, at some point I was a cash officer. I don't know if that's what still holds now, but as a cash officer, you need to know like 20 different passwords by heart that you use on a daily basis anyway. Then there are so many procedures and systems of working that you need to master. And the more you master it, the more better you get. And the better you get, the more you advance on the job. And so you do that day in, day out. There's pressure, demand. Then I had about 27 tellers I was overseeing. I now went on leave. Interestingly, the leave was just 1 week. But by the time I resumed, I had forgotten everything. Why? I didn't have use for this thing, outside job. In fact, this is one of the things that encouraged me to write down my book on life after banking. I didn't have any use for everything I knew as an operator in banking. I knew nothing. And I had no use for it outside. And so by the time I came back, I felt useless. I felt, so what's the essence of learning all these things if when you're out there in the real world is nothing, as in it has no application? Well, luckily then my mentor was my head of operations, and I went to tell him, God bless him, because he taught me a lot. I still work with him today. And he said, you see, when a soldier goes out I mean, when a soldier is learning to fight, they give him gun to shoot and how to kill people. But when he now comes into the real world, he can't be shooting and killing people. So it's not necessary. But what happens? Does he lose his skill? No. When the need arises, he will always pick his gun. So Ayo, you have it all in you. You know all these things. It's just like taking time. So of course, he now taught me how to remember and know and how to always, redo, as in get back into the system when I'm out. But that's him mentoring me in returning to work. Then at some point too, he now introduced me to older cash officers that have been in the system that have gone on leave so many other times, so that I can always call on them, even if it's not there, and they will remind me or tell me or guide me in case there are new systems or anything else that I need to do. Well, that's mentoring on getting back to work. Sometimes, like for the women, maybe you've been on maternity leave for a long time. Instead of the usual 3 months, maybe yours was 4 or 5 or even 6 months. So you would have been out of work mode completely. You now need a mentor to guide and support you on, getting back into the work mode, the saying, the behavior, the culture, and every other thing that pertains to the work life. So a mentor will be there doing all that for you. Also, professional updating. You need a mentor to update you professionally. That is somebody that will be guiding you on. Maybe you want to go into HR, for example. So as you want to go into HR, you now need a mentor to guide you on, okay, get a degree. After your degree, get your CIPM. After your CIPM, you get this, get that, do this, work here, work there, just guiding you in how you upgrade yourself up to even your resume. This is what you write, this is how you write it, this is how you do this is how you do that. So that at the end of the day, you are professionally sound over a defined period of time. So you need a mentor to guide you in your professional updating. Then of course, specialist and technology knowledge. I'll be talking about IT. In the IT field, you always need a mentor to guide you in a project, how to handle projects, how to do programming, how to troubleshoot, and so many other things. In fact, a lot of IT people will need a mentor on their marketing and customer relations. A lot of IT people. So if they don't have a mentor guiding them on that, they will have a lot of, as they say, in driving crashes that they will now be licking their wounds from. But to prevent that, get someone to mentor you or guide you. Most of them, what they do is just outsource it, actually. They just outsource it. So there are so many other places, as in situations where you need mentoring for. These are just some of the most common ones that I'm talking about. So as a mentor, what are the best practices? As in, what are those things you're expected to do to be a good mentor? Number one, for a good mentoring process, your first meeting with your mentee, we expect you to sit down, decide and agree on what are your goals and expectations. What are your expectations from your mentee? What is your mentee's expectations of you? What are the goals the mentee is expected to achieve? And then what are the goals you expect the mentee to achieve? You need to sit down and discuss this and have it down so that all of you have set what they call boundaries. And then next, you have to now help the mentee on the job on professional development and career development while mentoring the mentee. Then build trust. That is, you have to let the mentee trust you. And as a mentee, you have to let your mentor trust you. These are two people that don't know themselves that are coming together in a mentoring relationship. You have to build trust between yourself by having clear communication lines, and you have to look at issues of confidentiality, issues of culture, issues of personality, issues of boundaries. For example, some mentors will tell you, if you want to call me between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. But you see some mentees calling mentor at 1 a.m. Why? What do you want to achieve when the mentor is sleeping? Or when the mentor is dealing with other things, if you know what I mean, and then you're calling. Yoruba will say, show later, is it that? Is it up to that? No. So you clarify those issues and deal with them, so that once those boundaries are established and there's trust, the mentoring relationship will be smooth and very comfortable for both parties. But if not, there will be a lot of friction, and friction creates a lot of heat. And once there's a lot of heat, there's problem. And then mentoring relationship does not have to be physical 100%. You can have one physical meeting in a month, while the rest is online, by email, by Zoom, like we are doing now, by WhatsApp, by phone call. Once you've established these things we're already talking about, that's these best practices. Then also evaluate the effectiveness of the relationship. From the mentee, you know what you want to achieve. In your meeting with the mentor, you now need to find out if this mentor can or has the capacity to get you to that next level. As a mentor too, when you've confirmed the expectations and goals of your mentee, decide and confirm within yourself if you have the capacity of taking your mentee to that level. If not, it is not a crime. There is no issue. There is even the best decision. You stop the relationship there. And if possible, recommend a better person, or explain nicely in however you can why that relationship cannot work. You know, at this point, a lot of us as human beings have a challenge of, you know, not being able to say no, especially when you feel there's a lot of expectation required of you for a mentee to have walked up to you in a mentoring relationship. So instead of saying no, what you should do, you form busyness. Oh, you've agreed, but you are never available for meetings. You are never there to respond to any queries, inquiries, or emails your mentee is sending. You just be busy until the mentee is tired, frustrated, and walks away from the relationship. That's bad mentoring. Even you yourself, you need to be a mentor. You need to be mentored. That's not how you do it. If you can't do it, you can't do it. You will not be killed or die. And I feel even by saying it clearly and respectfully, you will still earn more respect and trust than you say, you now look for so many indirect ways of not doing it. No, please, it's not professional way of behavior. If it's timing, maybe you can't do it now, you can always request from the mentee, see, I'm not available to do this now, but if you give me 2 months, 3 months, 2 weeks, 1 year, we can revisit this, and then I should be able to have time for you. That's how it's done. Then encourage reflection. What do I mean? Always encourage your mentee to look back at where they were and where they are coming from and where they are going to, so that they will always see and appreciate the growth or development or changes that the relationship they have with you as a mentor, or even you have with your mentor as a mentee, has affected your lifestyle, is necessary. What do we think are the benefits of mentoring? Number one, skill development for both the mentor and the mentee, not just the mentee. Networking opportunities, the mentor would expose you to, opportunities to grow your network. Even you sometimes will be able to help your mentor to grow his or her own network. Then, because you are part of mentoring includes internal self-searching, soul-searching, and direction. So in the process of doing that, you will have increased self-awareness. Of course, because you have a mentor, you'll be more satisfied on your job, and a mentor helps you with emotional balance on the job. Like it was just yesterday, interestingly, a mentee calls me, she's abroad, she's not in Nigeria, that she was going crazy, that she has this challenge on the job, and she doesn't know what to do. She's tired. She can't go this, she can't do that. What did I do? I first calmed her down. Then I started asking her a set of questions in line with her job. When she explained, I now told her, this is the scenario I can see of what is happening, which she confirmed yes. I told her things she told me and things she did not tell me. One of the things a mentor should learn is hear what is not said to by the mentee, because sometimes the mentee might say some things, but because they don't have the experience, they don't even know those other things. That's why they never mentioned. It's not that they are hiding it. So when it's like that, all you do is listen attentively, then you can now rephrase and state those additional things so that the mentee can confirm. Once it's confirmed, you now can give a complete response Like for this, my mentee, we now spoke. I now told her a lot of, ways, alternatives, and various solutions. And she was very calm at the end of the day and so happy. And, went back to continue with her job. That's the essence of creating emotional support and, self-balance. Then, of course, career guidance. I have some people we discuss about their career, what they need to do and what they need to do next, which will say, do this, then do this, and don't bother about this. This is why, and this is why you should do this one, and on and on and on like that. So mentoring gives you such opportunity. And for a mentor, while you're even busy guiding your mentee, you might realize some areas where you're lacking in your career development too, which you can now work on. Because sometimes I've seen mentors that go to the same school as in learn a new skill with their mentee hand in hand and graduate or finish or get their certification together. Mentors and mentees have grown to become good friends over time. Then skill development is in line with career guidance. As they said, iron sharpeneth iron, as the Bible says. So it takes a sharp mentor to create a sharp mentee. It's as simple as that. That's the best explanation I can give. So what are the challenges in mentoring and what can we do? One, which is the most common one, communication barrier. How it takes the mentor and the mentee to work together to build their skills. So that is why, for example, your first meeting or in subsequent meetings, one person, either the mentor or the mentee, seems rude. You don't get rude back or end the relationship. You first probe and find out what's the issue. That is by talking, by relating with your mentor. By doing that, mentor, if there's a trust between the two of you, can tell you what the issue is or guide you to what it is, and then you help the mentor out or the mentee out, and it strengthens your relationship, and you get better over time. Remember the story I told about my mentor when I was doing my microfinance training. We got better in our relationship. Why? Simply because of that situation. Then mismatched expectation is another challenge in mentoring. The mentor is having a particular mentee is having a particular expectation while the mentor has a different expectation. This one I can give you an example. I used to be part of those that run the mentoring program for Daystar Christian Center. So while we were running the mentoring program, when we did matching of mentor and mentee, some of the mentees, the mentors are highly placed people in society or in their industry. That's one of the leaders in their industries, these mentors that we match with the mentees who are either startup or those that just are still young in their particular industry or line of business. Some of them, what were the expectations of their mentor? That one, the mentor will give them more business. The mentor will give them money. They would either dash them money or give them loan. Then the mentor, the mentor will employ them in their big company to start working while the mentoring is going on. And those are mismatched expectations. Why? It wasn't the purpose of our own mentoring then we designed as a church. What was the purpose of our own? You have just started a business or you are just still young in your business. So a mentor that has been in that business sometimes for as old as you were, for as old as since you were born, is now to hold your hand and guide you through that business so that over time, you become better than that mentor in that industry. So we got feedback on those mismatched expectations, which we instantly dissuaded the mentee's minds that, no, I'm sorry, this is not what it is, this is how it is, and this is how we expect you to go about it. So do you want to continue or not? Interestingly, some dropped out because that's all they wanted. That they felt they don't need any other thing. So it was mismatched expectation, while some continued, and today they are better for it. So it's about, which is why the first meeting, usually you define boundaries and set your goals and milestones in a mentoring relationship. Then another one is lack of follow-up. And this might come from either of the parties, either the mentor or the mentee. Solution, as usual, is communication, and then you agree. You need to fix meeting times. Like ours then, I think one of the mentoring programs we held was that you meet 1 or 2 hours in a week, agree on the time. And it doesn't have to be 1 or 2 full hours. It could be 30 minutes every 2 days, for which you review your goals and achievements and fails and look for how to go about it. But if you never set timing like that, structured, at the end of the day, the time you set might not work. As in, if you just feel you meet whenever you meet, it might not work. So that's why it's important to do it that way. Then, of course, there's learning style. As a mentor, in fact, let me mention, a lot of people usually speak from their love language, which is why, for example, if you're the type that yours is touch, you expect that person to shake your hand or to hug you. Without that, you don't feel fulfilled in that meeting, either during, before, or after. And then the other person might be the type that their love language is not touch, so they don't see any reason why they should shake you. They are very strict and straight up, a typical choleric. And that is already space for what? Disaster. What happens? You need to set the pace of when we are having a meeting, there's no need for formality. For example, if you are the type, let's just sit down and talk and gist. You've already explained your own learning style. If your mentee now says, in such a situation, I might not be comfortable, as I won't learn well. I hope I can bring my biro and paper as you are talking, as you are gisting, I can take notes. The mentor could say yes, or the mentor could say, bring a recording device. While some people are not comfortable with recording devices. They rather you take notes than record. So, both of you will tinkle around. There's no one way. You tinkle around till both of you get to a midpoint on what works for both of you. Once that is agreed, then you can now approach the mentorship relationship continually. Then there's cultural differences. The most common one is a Muslim cleric coming to mentor a female Christian. That's the definition of disaster. Why? The guy's cultural differences and the lady's own will always have clashes. So they need to agree on a way of going about it or recommend a different mentor or mentee. Simple. But some is about culture. For example, now, Yoruba culture has it that when you meet an elderly person, you don't look them straight in the eye, you don't talk back at them, you don't interject them when they are talking and all that. While in the Igbo land, you are a man, and so you look straight in the person's eye when you are talking, because they'll tell you the truth is in the eyes. The truth is in the eyes. So those are cultural differences, which, if as a mentor, I know, probably I'm a Yoruba guy and this is a Igbo man, I will be expecting, because I have an idea of such, that the guy will always look me in the eye. You get? And now we'll now have the challenge of me being a shy guy. I will be shy when the person is looking me in the eye. So how do we deal with it? Of which we now need to find how to address it. So those are the various things that needs to be looked at, especially in the issue. This is a sensitive one in a country like Nigeria, where culture is, the fabric of a lot of things we do here, for now anyway. So your mentoring system, how do you evaluate it when you have started and it has been running? You must agree on a period of evaluation, which is either monthly, weekly, quarterly, but never don't ever go over a very long period without evaluating your mentoring. So number one, you must have agreed on results that you expect. So have those results been obtained? You must have agreed on objectives. Have those objectives been obtained? You must have agreed on what level of growth is expected to be achieved as a mentee. Has those levels been, as in those milestones, have they been achieved? You must have agreed on areas of improvement. Have those areas been improved on? Sometimes it's about the cost benefits. That's like in a leadership mentoring system, is cost benefit analysis is one of the things you check. So has that been achieved? Then sometimes it's for an organization, some set of goals that needs to be achieved. That's senior level mentoring. Has it been met in the mentoring process? Then if it's personal mentoring, what are those goals that have been met? If it's improvement in performance, have you improved? Is it transfer of learning? How good are you now independently? So all these things are milestone KPIs that you need to set to use to measure your mentoring process or your mentoring system. Now, this is a good question. Somebody is asking, okay, Kike, How do you manage a mentor who always wants to meet at a club, or at the end of each session, the mentee is asked to settle the bills? Interesting. Now, like I said, challenges in mentoring, there's no one way. It's also a way of improving your social strength or your emotional intelligence. So you now need to understand your mentor first. For example, now, what's your mentor's reason of asking you to meet him at a club? He might be the type that he hangs out after work at the club and he sees the mentoring session as the same kind of activity. It's something you do relaxed and playfully. So why meet anywhere else except the club? What you need to do is explain your reservations to your mentor. And in explaining that, you need to put it to him in such a way, usually, as they say, using his own love language, so that he understands you very well, that this is why you are not comfortable with it. But if you know you are comfortable with it, and what are the other reasons? Maybe it's the noise, or maybe you feel it's a private session, so it cannot be held in a club in the presence of so many people. Explain and tell your mentor why. And if your mentor still does not see reason and you are still not comfortable, like I always say, it's not by force. So what you do straight up is end that mentoring session. But thank God this one is mentoring on the job. So on the job, they do not need to meet at the club. It is in the office that you do your mentoring. It's only those mentors that might now want you to stay on a regular basis late. You now need to also address, especially if you're of opposite genders. Then for payments, yes, sometimes, people have asked me this question before: is mentoring meant to be paid for? And I say yes. And at the same time, mentoring should be free. It now depends on the purpose behind it. Some people, they mentor as a business. That is, they get to a certain level of experience or years of experience or knowledge, and they now see it as an additional form of income by mentoring people. As long as they do it well, there's no problem with it, and they get paid for it. So, but you can pay in cash or in form of gifts, or like when you go out with your mentor and you have a meeting and you decide to settle the bills. Remember, your meeting is not every day. It's once a week or once in 2 weeks or even once a month. So if your mentor is asking you to settle the bills, if you can, please do not feel offended. To them, that might be their own love language. It is acts of, what do they call it again? Giving gifts. So to them, it's something you are doing for them or for their time. That's how you pay for their time. But when it's paid for, some of these things can be, reorganized, really. So that's the catch there. So it's neither here nor there. It is something you discuss with your mentor. Then, some of us, we are still struggling in life that we cannot even afford to buy lunch. We do 010 or 001 or 100. Then one mentor comes and tells you that when we are meeting, you are the one that will be buying lunch. Please, there are mentors that do not need to do that, and you don't need to meet in such an expensive place, or you don't need to buy lunch and they will still mentor you. So there's no one mentor that is the end of the road, except you have other benefits you expect to get from that mentor. Then you have to pay for it, which is either paying the bills or meeting with the other demand you get. That's just it. So please let the questions keep coming. Let the questions keep coming. And I hope I'm making sense, because the challenge with online training is you don't know who you are talking to, so you don't really know if it's flowing, and especially when it's like this class that I expected more questions, but not much are coming in. So because mentoring is practical, it's not theory. So please ask your questions irrespective. Like I always say, mentoring, any practical subject like mentoring, there are so many questions. Is it gender biasness, culture, practice, setting up, challenges you face in setting up, fails, issues? Some of us have had challenges with our mentors that we've had before, and this is an opportunity to address it. Now, this is another question. can a mentor be a sponsor? I need to understand what you mean by a mentor being a sponsor. Because sponsor has so many definitions. Is it for traveling? Is it for loan? Is it for business? So there are so many that if I don't have clarity or more specific definition, then I don't understand what you mean by a mentor being a sponsor. There's no definition of who a mentor can be. Your dad can be your mentor. Your best friend can be your mentor. Your neighbor, your boss, your MD, your pastor, your colleague, that's your manager, can be a mentor. So even the person that gave you loan can be your mentor. So if I have a better understanding of what you mean by a mentor being a sponsor, then I should be able to answer this question. But right now, I'm sorry, I need more information. Now, as a mentor, you need to be able to know how to evaluate your mentee. So there are so many ways. There's no one way of evaluating your mentee. One, you can hold interviews. That is, interview the mentee based on all you have done with the mentee so far. Oral interview, or you make observations on what the mentee is doing and what you have told the mentee to do and not to do. You can even prepare questionnaire and give to the mentee. You can set up tests. You can give them projects, which is more practical to handle. In the process, you know if the mentoring process has worked. It depends on the goals and the nature of the mentoring being carried out. But the general rule usually is let them watch you doing it, then you watch them doing it, and then they do it on their own. Once they succeed, then it's a good process. Then it's a good process. Also, you can discuss with the mentee. You can get feedback from those that are in the mentor. Oh, as a mentor, you can have more than one mentee. Please note. It's not that it must be only one person. Sometimes you have 2, 3. Generally, we advise don't have more than 10. Else it will be very cumbersome for you. In fact, if possible, maybe not more than 5 mentees that you are mentoring at the same time. So then you can also measure performance before and after the mentoring process to see whether there's improvement, or at set times, create quizzes or have an interview. Either the person's manager or the person's supervisor interviews the mentee to see progress based on the process so far. So that's the mentoring system. Okay. Jennifer has given us better perspective. She says a sponsor who speaks on your behalf to other business leaders. Yes, the person can be a mentor because, for example, the person might be the one to help you to prepare your pitch for this business, because after speaking to them on your behalf, you will now have to present you to them. So the person might guide you on what you are going to say when you speak to them, or your document you are preparing, or how to prepare it to succeed. So your sponsor can be your mentor, and also the person will now guide you even after the getting the project or the finance or whatever on how to go about it. You do it successful, such that by the next round, you don't need the person again. So yes, your sponsor can be your mentor. Now, Damilola says, how can one solo quit a mentoring relationship with a mentor who is not seen from one's perspective? Well, it's not rocket science. It is just like you say, you quit on your own. But you see, you do it properly, especially if it's a formal mentoring relationship. What you do is you can tell the mentor directly if that's how the relationship is. If it was formal, you can put it in writing and explain why. Sometimes people don't see what you are saying by mouth, but when you put it in writing in black and white, they now understand why you need to, stop the mentoring relationship. And then sometimes it might be you that is not, it might be your perspective that is not clear, or your understanding. So it's always good you have a very one-on-one, heart-to-heart discussion with your mentor before you finally decide to quit. And then even if your mentor is still not seeing your perspective, sometimes you need to now bring in somebody else who should be able to put it in your words that the mentor can listen or hear from, to be able to now give you a better understanding. So if at the end of the day, both you and whoever you bring in, or the letter you wrote or email, your mentor still does not see it, please still go ahead and quit. However, quit is quit. But always do it, be professional in carrying out these things. Another question is, okay, I've answered this one. Sponsor. Another one is, how does one encourage a mentee that always feels he is supposed to be paid for being your mentee? And how does one encourage a mentee that feels he's supposed to be paid for being your mentee? This particular mentees are secondary school leavers or children from his perspective. It shows that they were given a wrong perspective. They have a wrong idea of mentoring. So what you need to do is redirect their understanding of what mentoring is. You have to redirect their understanding of what mentoring is. So once you are able to do that successfully, they will know that they are not meant to be paid, because to them, that's IT, as in it's more of a job. It's not a job. And then if you are defined it as a job for them, then that's what they understand. So you too need to understand, check out what kind of definition did you give, what kind of explanation. You have to change the perspective. Once you can do that, I'm sure the mentoring relationship will be clearly defined. So that's that. So based on this, I am rounding up unless we have more questions. Does anybody have any? So in summary, mentoring is a powerful tool for personal and professional growth, providing valuable guidance, support, and feedback for individuals seeking to develop their skills and reach their goals. Through mentorship, mentees can gain new perspectives, learn from the experiences of others, and gain the confidence and knowledge needed to succeed in their chosen field. Whether you are a seasoned mentor or new to the practice, join us to learn how to build effective mentoring relationships that individuals unlock with their full potentials. Note, as a mentor, you need to also learn mentoring. As a mentee, you need to also learn how to be a mentee. There are various ways of learning and training. Then, as an organization, one of the things that drives excellence in an organization is setting up a mentoring system, which also helps with your succession planning. So what I would always advise that you learn continuously as a mentor, learn continuously as a mentee, and then as an organization, create and also continually upgrade on your mentoring system. If you don't know how to set up one, you can always contact me. Coinbox does that for people. Okay, I have another question here from Jennifer. In your perspective, which is more efficient in the workplace, coaching or mentoring? It's neither here nor there, but for me, what is more efficient is mentoring, because I see mentoring for junior to middle level, that's junior to middle management staff, mentoring works. But when you now become senior to management level staff, what you need is a coach, because there's nothing at that point on the job that you don't know. It's just that you can't place your hand on it or have perspective. So what a coach does at that point is help you create perspective, or help you place your hand on that thing on the table that you need to pick to solve that immediate problem. So at senior to management level, you need a coach, while at middle to junior level, you need a mentor. That's how I see it work. The CEO is supposed to be the coach to his fellow management staff, while the chairman is supposed to be the coach to the executive board of directors. So at that level is coaching. But I hope that answers your question, Jennifer. One last question, or I think I can stop here. No, I've taken almost 2 hours. I think I'm going to stop here, and so that we can go to bed and have a wonderful night. Thank you, everyone, for being here and listening to me from now till this level we've gotten to. Feel free to reach me if you have any other questions. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm actually all over social media. I will do my best to respond. And we also, Coinbox has a mentoring system, which we can put you into, although ours is not free. So you can always reach out to us. Thank you, Yemi, for this opportunity. And Somto, I told you I will mention your name. So Somto, thank you so much for helping me out. Kike, thank you very much. I hand over to our main host.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo, for doing an excellent and outstanding job with that presentation. Very phenomenal. I also want to thank everyone who joined this session tonight. We know that sometimes Friday night is not very convenient. You must really be thirsty for knowledge to reach out for knowledge during this transit hour. Again, it has been phenomenal. We'll put this on our YouTube so that you can watch it again or share the recording with your friends and loved ones. Sir, we don't take this for granted. We know you are coming back soon. We'll reach out to you so that we can find out your next earliest convenient time and we'll do something around another wonderful topic together. Thank you so much, sir. I know you have come.
Wow. I can't hear you again.